Alrighty. Be with y'all in just a second. Time to make the donuts. Bam. Yeah. Good morning, YouTube. Oh crap! Left the light on in the back. Hold on. Hold on. Time to make the donuts. Time to dry. Oh. Let's see what the heck. I gotta go. I stopped early. Uh, I stopped early last night because I think there's an area that I gotta go through on I-40 up there in Tennessee. Is where they had washed the stuff away, and it's going to be real tight up there. So I wanted to be wide awake. Make sure we don't have no drama. You know what I mean? I'm gonna know someone. I haven't started driving yet, so I can't. I can look at the what you call it. I'm an over the road truck driver, and this is what I do. I'm not going to really be able to answer you guys. I apologize, but I'd rather stay alive than looking at the feed while I'm driving this behemoth. You feel me? Where am I from? I'm originally from Long Island, New York, but I live in Georgia. I live in Georgia. Georgia. Boy, I'm feeling this cold up here. I'm heading to, I believe, Indiana. But I finally got getting a load out of the same place. It's been a little hard lately. Um, and I've been running for a month, almost 2 months, without some time off, and been struggling like a mother. You know, most new people would have been like, "Forget this, I'm jumping ship. I'm going somewhere else." And by the way, hey, um, if if you in there, I'll give you a call after I get off of the live. I just seen you called again. Apologize, I was asleep and dealing with the crap being a truck driver. Just found out I got this astronomical fine from the association. So I'm gonna try to plead with him. If not, I'll pay it. Just deal with it. Um, for leaves, I mean, it's astronomical for freaking leaves. Um, it's freaking stupid. But hey, it's what it is. I always wondered, there's someone in there that's got from a different country, and I noticed I get some folks that on your computer. How does your computer register? I know I sound ignorant, and I apologize. How does your computer register your language? The alphabet and the signs. I know that sounds so ignorant, but I really would like. I think that's pretty cool. You know what I mean? But hold up. Oh, looking for one. My blood pressure's up. I don't know why. I'm probably just straight up eating wrong. Uh, but we're gonna correct that because I want to live. But yeah, ARD, I'll give you a call after the live. Okay, I'm 40 miles to the 40 miles to I-40. I don't know. Still trying to figure this crap out. Um, you guys hear that clicking? What that is, this is how I was told. If you're going below 50 miles an hour, which I am, you put your blinkers on. And that's not for four wheelers. That's not because I can't drive. I'm just warning the guy behind me, another truck driver behind me. Hey, stupid! I'm not going the speed limit, so beware. Because especially at night, especially early in the morning, your reflexes aren't up to par. They teach you there's a reflex. Uh, uh, how long it takes for your brain to register, hey, there's something wrong, and how long it takes for you to notice it, and how long it takes for you to physically do it. There is they've got a science to it. Isn't that crazy? Um, yeah, there's a science to this crap, and just trying to figure it out is the experience. You know, my thumbnail. I've always kept that picture because I was coming up. I believe it was through Arizona, coming up through Phoenix, and I was driving on this road, and I just kept on going. I was acting like a super trucker. I just kept on going, and I was on this back road, this winding road, and I was running out of hours. And when you do, and you're running out of hours, you know, your heart starts racing. You're terrified. Hey, Mike, what's going on? I see you there. You're racing. You're terrified. And like, oh my god, like saw somebody put a gun to your head. And I just drove. I drove to I had like 10 seconds left on my clock. What is it? We have a clock. We run on a clock. Once I start driving, it don't stop. It don't stop. I have a certain amount of hours I can drive. I got a certain amount of hours I can work for the day. Then I have to shut down. If not, I am in violation and I can get in trouble. Um, it messes with the CSA scores, and it messes with my life. But when you're new, you seem like, oh my god, oh my god, and I was freaking out trying to find a place to park. Then I found a pull off area. I know I told this story, but I found a pull off area, a dirt spot, and I backed into it. And man, it was just out in the middle of nowhere. I thought the Chupacabra was gonna get me. I thought, maybe mountain lions because I was in a mountainous area. And I took a picture of the truck. So if they find me eaten up or dead, they'll know this is where I stopped. You know what I mean? And I remember locking the back of the. I ran to the back of the trailer. I was just terrified. It was freaking hilarious. And locked the trailer, and it commenced to try to sleep. I woke up that morning to one heck of a sight across the street. I was literally on the outer rim of the Grand Canyon, and you could see the edge of it. Now, the reason I know that because once I started driving again, I came across. It said the southern, you know, entrance of the Grand Canyon. I've seen it on National Geographic. I ain't never seen it, and I was sitting there cracking up. I was like, the stuff I've seen out here. I mean, literally, the stuff that I've seen out here is is crazy. Yeah, I'm sitting there climbing up this freaking mountain. 196. What? This fucking. Uh, Sometimes it's GPS. Sometimes it's my fuel stops, man. Don't coincide with my driving. It's ridiculous. But what was I about to say? Oh, but the other thing, I was looking at this young lady video on social media, and it's oh my god, it's so reminded me of my struggles trying to become a truck driver. It's so reminded me because I felt I felt this young lady's pain. She made a video, and she was having a breaking up. She's been uh, she's been videotaping, her journey to becoming a truck driver and training and stuff like that. And a lot of new drivers don't realize one, you just think you're backing up. No, it's the best way to explain it when you're backing into a dock. You're driving, like you see the video of me pointing forward, right? Just look at it when you're looking through the rear view mirrors. Just look at it the same way. You're driving the back of that trailer into that spot. That's the best way I can explain it. And it's all about physics. It's all about mechanics. It's all about engineering. If I turn a certain, you don't you, the reason why you're having a problem is because you don't have the experience. You will get the experience, but if I turn this trailer a certain way, the back is going to turn a certain way. This is not a car. You know what I'm saying? And we have, it's called tandems in the back, which can be adjusted. So if they're put all the way forward, the back turns quicker. If they put all the way to the rear, the back turns a lot slower. But the front will offset and go to the right or to the left. But you don't know that because it's going to take some time to get your brain patterns out of the fact that you've been driving a car all your life. My wife always says, "Why you go so wide and why you go so slow?" When I make turns, I go wide and slow because I drive this daggone thing for God knows how. But you know, do you see what I'm saying? Because I drive wide because that I have to off tracking means the trailer does not follow the track of my tractor. It follows a different path. So when I'm turning, I got to look at the back and watch out where that sucker's going. So if I'm trying to make a sharp turn, I still got to go wide. Then I got to bring it right back. But I know that from 14 some odd years of experience. Nobody's saying, and let's put this to rest right now. Even though I got a million miles under my belt, even though I've been driving since 2011, I still don't know what the f I'm doing. But it's a living. I love doing it, and it is what it is. I still don't know what I'm doing, so I'm not going to get on here and act like I know what I'm doing. But I'm just telling you from experience what I've learned. It looks like Jeff. I see the little red thing there. Hey, if that is, hey, Jeff. Um, do you see what I'm saying? And it falls down to even if you're driving a utility trailer, it's the same concept. Just a utilities trailer, when you're backing that sucker up, it cuts so fast you blow your mind. I messed up the side of my truck, and I've got a lot of years on my pickup truck with my utility trailer because it turns so freaking quick. I literally messed up the side of my truck. And I learned from it, but it is what it is. But this young lady, I guess a lot of y'all be believing the hype of all this money that you're gonna make driving an 18, but you're gonna make over $120,000 a year, and I mean you make this and you're gonna make that. It's a fucking lie. It's a freaking lie. It's not. They're not telling the truth. They're not telling the truth. For the hours we work, they're not telling the truth. For a while, before Trump's behind came in here and I was over the road, I was making, I was in the 60s. I was in the 60s. So, you know what I'm saying? But you're not going to make what you think you make at another job. But again, I'm too old to be trying to do something else. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah, whatever. My mom's going to hang around and figure it out. But it is what it is. But I have the freedom to cruise when the wife wants to. I can take time off. They leave me alone. I got an extra day off. for Thanksgiving, which is going to kill me on the next check. Oh boy, oh boy. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? But back to the story. The young lady was having a hard time backing up and just got so upset because she wanted it so bad. I remember when I first tried this. I went with a company called Swift Transportation. Their training was freaking horrible. They got us in the truck and had us drive around in circles for a couple of hours. Drive around in circles. Didn't teach us how to do a 90-degree backing. Um, didn't didn't really teach us nothing. And then took us to we went out on the road and just drove for a few minutes. Did not explain. They didn't explain nothing. So it was really like 2 or 3 days of training, and then took a. That's why Swift be having so many freaking accidents. And then took us to the Department of Motor Vehicles to get the driving test done. Boy, if there was points for running over every cone in the parking lot, I would have passed. I ran over every cone. You put on somebody put a shotgun to my head. I had no mechanics. I had no reference point of when to turn or when not to turn. It was just unbelievable. See, because what you got to understand when you're backing up a trailer into a dock, a parking spot, a space, there is a point that they would tell me, okay, when you're backing up, you'll feel it when it's time to turn. And I'm like, these mother effers are telling me I'm gonna feel what? Well, those back tires, there's a point when you are turning the wheel to back into a spot. There's a point when the back tires will start to turn. It's like a guessing game. It's like you'll see it, but you won't recognize it until you get some experience under your belt. There's a point where the tires, they're called tandem, will start to turn, and you'll know when to come out of it. What I mean, come out, start turning the truck, and then you'll know when to start turning back the other way to straighten it out. And, and I remembered when I was doing this, I was like, oh, that's what they're talking about. You know what I'm saying? There's angles that make it easier to get into a parking spot. Doing a 90 degrees to get into a parking spot is the hardest way to do it. A 45, you set yourself up in a 45-degree angle, it makes it a whole lot easier. But you don't know that because you've got bills due. You need this job. You know, you're trying to become a person. You're trying to get out your mama's house. You're trying to become somebody, so everything becomes overwhelming to you. I remember when I failed the test the first time, I was just, oh man, I was crying. You thought somebody died in the family because I had no mechanics, I had no nothing. And I just gave up on it and went back to work. Uh, I was a I was a subcontractor for, I believe, Dish Network at the time, and I went back to work and I just was so freaking miserable. And once again, guys, I'm sorry I can't see what your comments. Please excuse me. I'm driving an 18 wheeler. What we're talking about, and I was just so miserable at being a subcontractor. I was just miserable. And remember one day I was driving on this back street, and I pulled into I was passing it, and I seen what you could always see. You could always see from the road a truck driving school. They got a whole bunch of cones, a couple of 18 wheelers with trailers, and people backing up between the cones. And I remembered seeing that. I said, "Well, you know what? That's a school. Let me go ask them how much how much do they charge to do the truck driving school." And I remembered going in there and said, "Excuse me, ma'am. I was just wondering how much do you guys charge for this school?" She says, "Well, how long have you lived in Georgia?" At that time it was some like 20 years or something. And she said, "Well, we have a program, you know, that pays for your schooling because you're a Georgia resident, and all you have to do is pay for the fuel for the truck." So how much that's $500. I said, "Well, what would I have to do to sign up today?" She said, "If you give me $50 down, we can hold a spot for you." Man, I almost ripped my damn drawers trying to pull it out my pocket to get to sign up, and it was freaking hilarious because we had a class on permit, to get the driving permit, and they told us all the answers. They didn't have a study on their own. He just went down the list and told us all the answers, and we just got to study from there. Well, I mean, I wasn't complaining, so I got all the answers and got my permit. I got all my endorsements ahead of ahead of time, doubles, triple, and hazmat. I won't do a double. I won't drive doubles. That's dangerous as hell. And triples is even worse than that. But I've done hazmat before. You know what I mean? Um, but back to the story. I had so much freaking fun. That's why when I told the young lady about driving, go go at it not because it's desperation, but go at it and have some fun doing it. What they don't tell you, and they teach, which I think is stupid. Oh, turn. I'm climbing the mountain, guys. So I apologize. My radiator temp was getting a bit high there. So anytime you climb a mountain, man, turn the AC off. I, I, I didn't know I had the AC on, but I turned it off and it dropped. But that'll overheat you quicker than anything else. But I was determined to pass this freaking class. But one, I didn't notice. I didn't know I was blind as a bat. I was just surviving. I was blind as a bat. We had got on the road because what we did is we had some bigums. We had big, I call them bigums, but what y'all know called the big bags. Our instructors was big, and what we would do is drive. We would drive to restaurants to have uh, dinner. Restaurants where you could park your truck, and one person would drive for a certain amount of time, then another person would drive, and then we would go eat, and then turn around and come back the other way. We had free time to parallel park, straight back, and 90 degree. Those and what they do is when you go, there's nothing in the back of the trailer, which I think they need to put something back there because there's a total different feeling of driving an empty trailer compared to driving a loaded trailer. A loaded trailer is a guided missile, for Pete's sake. A loaded trailer is a freaking guided missile. You have to know that physics override everything else. You have to know that you just cannot stop an 18-wheeler with just your brakes. It's just, if you want to stop it really quickly, which is still takes about a football field if you're going 55, 65 miles an hour. Like right now, I'm going down and I didn't have a Jake brake on. See, you need your Jake brake to slow you down, which is your engine. It's an actual engine brake. When you turn that on and let off the gas, it starts to slow the truck down. You also have the ability to downshift, even in an automatic on the right side handle. You just have to know which handle that controls it. Is I can actually downshift if I want to slow the truck down. You just have to keep an eye on your tachometer. You can't put it in the brake zone. You know what I'm saying? But you need your Jake brake, you need the downshift. Then last resort is your physical brakes. Because you could hold on them brakes, that sucker will keep moving. It's just physics. And it's so funny. This is one of those jobs where, like, what do I need to know about this for? I ain't gonna need to know that in real life. Well, yeah, driving the truck you are. Weight ratios and all kind of stuff like that. Driving the truck you are. That's the main thing. But the stuff they don't tell you about driving these trucks. One, you think your training is over once you get your license. But yeah, let me back up. Because I told y'all earlier, I tried to do a 90-degree, ran over every cone in the building. And I just was so terrified of that 90-degree turn. So I went in at it like I was going to war. I remember the day before the initial test, because at the school I went to, you had to take, one of the instructors was qualified to actually give you the exam. Because I had someone watching me, I get nervous. I even do that even now. Somebody the yard jockey, I get nervous, my heart starts racing, it's crazy. So I have to just focus. But um, the day before, I walked the parking lot where you would do the 90-degree turn into the slot, and I set it up with when I get to this point, I'm gonna start my turn. When I'm gonna straighten out to this point, I'm going to straighten it out so I can see both sides of the trailer. I'm gonna get out and look when I see that tandem start to turn, make sure I'm not hitting them. I mean, I had calculated to the last inch, and on each one, I walked on for you to pass the forms. You had to do all of you had to do all of the stuff, and you were going to be then they give you to the instructor that's going to take the test. And each time I did, I mean, he literally had me do, just that. And I was so locked in that he had to keep on telling me, okay, Mr. Banks, move on to this one. Oh, I guess, sir, yes, sir. And I moved on. And I remember when I did the 90, and he didn't tell me nothing. And I got it in the hole, and I picked up, and I was so excited. No, not excited, but I was so focused. And he said, okay, Mr. Banks, I'll be right back. He went back into the trailer. And what they do is they come out with an envelope. It's a sealed envelope. You take that sealed envelope to the DMV and give it to them, and then you get your license. And he walked up to me and he said, congratulations, you passed. And I, my knees got weak. I literally, I almost fainted. I freaking almost fainted. And I sat there for a while. And that was an accomplishment that I never. Okay. Oh, geez, seven. Okay, I'm talking to y'all. I got to focus for a minute. Downgraded 7% from Pete freaking says. uh, all right, gotta get ready to go back down this freaking mountain. Look, that's why I don't rush. See, and it's another thing. Half the time, I don't push on the gas. I just let off the brake and let the Jake brake do his job going down the freaking mountain. And but back to the story. What they don't tell you is you're thinking, okay, I got my license now. I'm just gonna drive a truck. No, these companies they put you with a trainer. They put you with a guy that's going, to drive over the road. What they don't tell you is the guy that trains you has only got a few months on you. What I mean, he's only been driving a freaking 18-wheeler for a couple of months more than you have. A real experienced driver like myself or other people that's been doing it for a while, we not stupid. We're not getting out here and teach Joe behind how to drive a truck. Ask me why. Ask me why. Well,
Most newbies, they don't want to listen. It's like being in a fraternity. You got to kiss whoever's ass. This is how I finally had to figure it out. You got to kiss whoever's behind is training you for the 4 or 5 weeks till you can get out of that daggone truck. Half the time, a trainer is going to treat his truck because he ain't got nothing else. He treats his truck like it's his baby, like he owns the daggone thing. A lot of times they do. They're actually lease purchase. They're lease purchasing the truck, so you're helping them make payments. That's all you're doing. You're helping them make payments, and they treat it as such. So you got to kiss somebody. What they don't tell you is you got to kiss somebody's behind for 4 to 6 weeks till you get out that daggone truck. And you got to figure out what to take from what they're teaching you and what you can actually learn from them. I had one guy, I was telling him, I was walking outside the truck and he didn't want to listen to a not a motherfucking word I said. I was training him and I said, okay, start your turn. He didn't. He kept on going, overshot it. I said, hey, bud, okay, pull it back, start your, he didn't again. He was trying to do it his way. And I said, hey, man, I'm trying to teach you something. And he just blew me the fuck off. Like I wasn't shit. And I actually had some time under my belt when I was teaching that time. And I said, okay. I called him up. I said, no. This mother effer's gonna get me killed. This fool's gonna get us killed because he don't want to listen. And a lot of truckers don't. That the ones that got some sense, the super truckers, the ones that have been doing it for a while, they ain't got the patience. They don't have the patience to help you because you don't, especially dudes. Women will listen. They get a little emotional. I had one lady, boy, she threw the keys at me, told me to go fuck myself and everything else, and I had to take a deep breath and said, look, you almost hit the trailer 5 times. I saved your job 5 times because I yelled. I apologize for yelling, but if I got to yell to save your job, please forgive me. And I did. You see what I'm saying? But it is what it is. Now, you also when you call these trucking companies, these recruiters do not tell the truth. You will make this amount of money. Lie. You will have this time off. Another lie. You got you got to get in where you fit in and figure out what if this company's for you. And back in the day, the dispatchers just talk to you like you want spit. And I was always to be respectful. I was always taught to be respectful to other people because it didn't pop out yet. The empath of me didn't pop out to going from 0 to 100. But something in me snapped one day because I was working at this one company and they were waiting till the last daggone minute to say, okay, I need you to get 400 miles down, 400 or 500 miles down the road to pick up this load. And I just called the head dude and said, hey, why don't we, if we know even just the vicinity of the next load, why don't you tell me the day before? So if I'm done for the day and I've got 4 extra hours, I could start heading that way. And I remember um, my dispatcher called me up and started talking to me. How dare you go to my head? Who the F you think you are? And blah, 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 just going on. And I just snapped. I said, hey, who the F are you talking to like that? I'm a grown ass man. I will reach through this phone and rip your fucking head off. Don't you ever talk to me like that again. Who do you think you are? If I got a problem with you, I'm a grown man. I'll tell you to your face. I ain't had no problem with you. I just was trying to fix a problem that with the system. I said, don't you ever talk to me like that again. Do you hear me? And I told him I'll lose my job kicking your ass. Don't you ever talk to me like that. And I remember, it was about last year, a few months, like 6, 7 months ago. Some new manager said that I cussed at a woman. I'm not that type of person, bro. But I said, you know what? All right, I ain't saying nothing. Okay. And I went and apologized, but I know I ain't cuss at her. And guess what? She ain't even working there no more. Because one wanted me to go through there was a hurricane in Florida and wanted me to go down um what is it, 75 South into Florida. I said, y'all lost your mind. Now it's like, nope, not doing it. I don't care what y'all say, you know? But the thing is, a lot of this, a lot of this is going to be learned as you go. I mean, honestly. A lot of this is going to be, you'll figure it out. There's so many people, like they smiling from ear to ear. Everything is a smile. And I gotta wash my ass, but I'm late for the load. But I gotta wash my. You get enough of them late, so you ain't gonna get no load. Sorry about that. But it's just this is a different lifestyle than folks, and they don't get it. This is a whole different lifestyle. I see wellness today. Well, hey, morning. Everything is overpriced. Like a case of water where you'd pay $5 at Dollar Tree or Publix or any supermarket. At the truck stop, you're gonna pay $9.99 or $10. A bowl of salad, it's gonna be $8 or $9. That's what you're gonna be paying for a bowl of freaking salad. Before Trump came in, you used to get like 2 slices of pizza, meat lovers and all this stuff for five. It's just all of this junk food. But it's even now. I've been checking my blood pressure the last 2 days. Um, I'm not happy. I gotta leave the potato chips and all the salty stuff alone. It's it. I done got so lackadaisical. I done got so lazy that I think that I'm living a regular, normal, regular schmegular life, and I'm slowly killing myself. You got to be more healthy. You got what they don't tell you is get you some compression socks. Um, when I stop at the truck stop to fuel, which is 156 miles from here, uh, I'm going to be doing. I'm going to do my push-ups, and then I'm going to add some squats to it, and we're going to get that part of it. We're going to get in it. I took my medication this morning, and I'm going to be drinking. I'm drinking my uh, kidney tea or whatever the heck this tea is, with no sugar. Didn't have my morning cup of coffee. I had a B12 though, and a B1 to keep that circulation going. I did do that. Got enough sleep. Just see something here. Okay. Now, the other thing is, I've learned to stay humble when I do this, and it actually, once again, you guys helped me when Mike gave me the idea to, do a forward-facing video. I got to drive like I got some sense. I literally have to drive like I got some sense. Okay, we're coming up on exit 40, so we got to jump. We got to get off there. I got to drive like I got some sense. So I try to look at the positive parts, the positive aspects of doing, doing all of this. You know what I'm saying? And see, I'm hard headed. So if you get through to this thick skull, and I start doing what you say do, you know I respect you. Cause I'm like, ain't nobody tell me what to do. Oh yeah, they do. Okay. Now another thing you learn as a truck driver is if you look at the ground, see how it kind of looks like an off grayish color. That means that's good ground. That's dry ground. If you start seeing a sheen to it, then you need to start slowing down. And you go and you look at the temperature. Most trucks have a temperature gauge inside the truck. When it starts get around like 34, 33, especially now, it's winter is here. You need to look at the next vehicle that passes you. If you see a spray coming up, that means that it hasn't iced up yet. If you see a car blow by you and they're not putting up no spray and that ground look a little shiny, you better start looking for a place to park. And it gets close to 32. That ground is icing up. But there's certain parts of the country, and I'm talking about black ice, but there's certain parts of the country that's got that white, grayish, gray, indestructible ice that it gets so cold that There's parts of the country that it gets so cold that salting the road don't do squat. It don't do a daggone thing. They just throw some dirt down there. Colorado's one of them. Idaho is another one. I watched a double FedEx blow by me, and I was white knuckling it for a couple of 100 miles, and it was just nothing but white. It was like a white grayish ice. It was just totally covered. But that mess is hard as concrete. They throw dirt down, and they were just getting it. And you can always tell someone's from the area. They don't give a flip. I'm scared to death. But I did what it did. You know what I mean? Certain states, you got to have from a certain month until springtime. You have to have chains in your truck. Chain it up. If I got to chain up, I don't need to be driving. I'll be honest with you. But it took me years to really realize if I got to chain up, I don't need to be driving. I remember one time we was coming up Cabbage, put the chains on there, but put them on there wrong, and one came off, and we were climbing the mountain. I said, "Don't stop, keep going." And I was team driving at the time. And we just kept on, left that chain on the road. Just said, keep going. Because our momentum kept us moving. You know what I mean? So I said, don't stop, keep going. It was freaking hilarious. Okay, where's it sending us? Take off the exit. Why is it sending me this way? Hold on. Let me focus on this. I ain't never been up this way, so I'm gonna listen to the GPS. This is crazy. But Colorado is one of the states where you've got to have chains in your truck, and if you don't, I think it's $1,100 fine. There's another law about that nobody tells you about, and it goes for cars too. If you see a cop pull a car over on the side of the interstate, get over in the next lane. That goes for cars too. Because you piss that cop off, he'll give you a ticket. That ticket's about like $800 or $900. And a lot of times y'all don't realize that we have to pull over because the back of our trailer kind of wiggles. So if they're close to the road, I could smack him and kill him. So that's why I'm trying to get over. I've had to pay that fine. That was $1,100. I had to pay that. And I tried to fight it. They brought it down to a lesser charge, but it still cost me $1,100. I had to pay that in the beginning of my driving career. But learning how to do this and trying to navigate. There used to be some real good companies, but now we're in a trucker recession, a truck driver recession, because once again, it started before Trump and he just exacerbated it um, to unbelievable proportions. Um, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, I'm doing 30 miles an hour in the 45, but I don't know this area, so I'm going a little bit slower. I'll get mad all you want, but I'm going slow enough so I can navigate the area and get to where I need to go. You know what I'm saying? Get to where I need to go. Just see the Walmart driver turn in. That's a Walmart. This has got to be the shortcut. Yeah, it's gotta be a freaking shortcut. Uh, oh, and another thing when you're learning, look, I said it, but I got called everything but a child of God when I put it online. I said when you get the tire blown, pull over and have the no. One guy said I've driven 3 states with a flat tire. I said, you're lying. I said I'm calling you on it. There's no way you're gonna get past a scale house with a flat tire. Ain't no way. But that's one thing they don't tell you is that is when you're coming up on a scale house, the heck, is that a road? Oh, it is a road. When you come up on a scale house, they have these scales in the road that you drive over. They can tell which tire is flat. That's why I love the trailers that we got. They're pre-aired up. So if we have a slow leak, they will actually air up on their own. So I just have to worry about my truck tires. I'm gonna start checking them soon today. I see someone else giving a good morning. How you doing? How you doing? But and you're gonna sit and say you've driven 3 states. Each state has at least on every interstate in the beginning or in the middle of the road, you see a scale house. I have to pull in when given the instructions to. I have this um, thing on my onboard computer which tells me when I need to pull in. So I have to follow those instructions. And I was supposed to go in business with my father when he was alive. Um, I was supposed to go to business with my father when he was alive, but he did it wrong. And I asked because they don't tell you, especially guys, if you own a diesel, like a diesel pickup truck, don't get your diesel from in the back where you see the 18 wheels fueling up because you're paying an extra 30, 40 cents. You're paying an extra 34 cents a gallon because you're paying for the IFTA tax. That's a tax that 18 wheelers like myself pay every time we fuel up. So whatever we fill up, we're paying it. Certain states is 40, some is 20, some it's something. You pay every state you're paying an IFTA tax. So just remember that. Well, my father said I was going to go into business. I have CDL. He was going to go. We were going to do hot shot loads. That's with like a flatbed gooseneck trailer and an F-350. He had an F-350, and he set up the plates wrong. You know what I'm saying? He literally set up the plates wrong. So he set up the plates. The trailer was the right scale trailer. You didn't need an IFTA sticker for the trailer, but the plates on the truck, he set it up for a different weight ratio, and you needed the IFTA sticker. And I told him that you don't need that. Hold up, bro. The DOT is like the freaking German, I mean, not the Gestapo, but you know what I mean. The DOT don't play. And you will get fined and everything else if you don't have this sticker. The sticker only costs $6. You don't need that. Doing that ghetto black folks mentality. Nah, you don't need that. Yes, you do. And I'm trying to be respectful. He says, you don't need that. And I'm like, yes, you do. And I called the scale house in Georgia and explained the situation of what we were trying to do. Flatbed, and the truck was registered for a certain weight, and the trailer was registered for a different weight. It said, and I called the scale house. I Googled the number and called it, and I asked. I said, "Can I speak to an officer?" And he said, and I said, "Sir, I'm trying to tell my father we need to get an IFTA sticker." He said, "Yes, Mr. Banks, you're gonna need an IFTA sticker. So if I see you come through my scale house and you don't have that IFTA sticker, I'm gonna light you up with tickets." And it'd be to the point that you might lose, confiscate your load, lose your truck. It's the whole 9 yards because you got to do what this man's saying to do. You don't need that. Okay. I told him I can't work. I can't do it. I can't go into business with you because you don't want to listen. It's a $6 ticket. The only difference is when I get the gas, I got to get it in certain states to offset the price of paying the IFTA tax. Like I look for states that have a high IFTA tax, so it offsets the lower states that have a lower one, so that we'll break even. And I was trying to explain it. Yeah, you don't need that. Okay. And I didn't talk to him for years. And I went and literally went. I quit one job and literally came to Knight, this company, and started working again. I remember I was going to go into business, and Norma was helping me. We just met, and she thought I was doing that typical black man thing, just laying around. And she said, you got to get a job. I said, well, I was trying to wait on my father for him to, realize what's going on. He said, no, you either you get a job, you got to go. I was like, okay. And I literally got a job that night. And I've been working for Knight ever since. And that's a whole nother story. It's just freaking funny. But and that's a whole story behind that. But a lot of people get into this and they don't do their homework. My father had trucking friends that owned their own business, but they were scared to speak up. And I told them when he passed, I said, you motherfuckers knew I needed that sticker. You wouldn't tell him. You wouldn't say nothing to him. They were scared to speak up. And it was sad, but you gotta learn. You gotta learn the lay of the land. You gotta learn the tools of driving commercial vehicles and having, a commercial life and what you got to do with it. I tried to get my own truck a few times, and boy, I just ain't got the cojones story. To be honest with you. I'll be straight up honest with you. I don't. Oh, okay. I'm 4 miles to 40 West. I'm being straight up honest with you. I didn't have the because when something breaks down in this truck, the prices are astronomical. Tires are $900 to $1,000 a piece. To have someone come out and do something to get a tow, 1,300, 1,400, $700. It's un it's unbelievable. Um, to get engine work done, 15, 20 grand. You got to have to even start with this. You got to have at least a minimum of $50,000 in the bank just in case if your truck breaks down, or if you get a new truck, you got to have enough work to make them payments. A lot of folks they get in here, they get that in, then they go straight into lease purchase. You're just making the payments for them. You ain't ever gonna own that truck. You ain't never gonna own that truck. And if you take some time off, their payment's still due. So a lot of guys they get out here and they stay in the hole because they believe, oh, when you be a lease driver, you're gonna make all this money. Man, please stop your lying. Stop your lying. Like I said, I tried about 3 or 4 times, and no, I'm good. I'll just stay a company driver. Yes, sir. No, sir. I'll be so happy when 4 miles get to freaking the interstate again. I don't like being on a back road, but we're cutting off some stuff. It's probably the GPS is it's probably something down the way. Probably something up 26. So just stay off of it. It is what it is. Righty, where we going? Yeah, we got 3.3 miles to 40. So get up here. Construction inside. Yeah, we in the mountains. You look to the left, you're gonna see the mountain range. It's all good. Alrighty. Oh, uh, oh, sorry, I went blank there for a minute. Alrighty. Yeah, this look a little spooky back here. Thank God the sun's coming up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, let's slow this sucker down a little bit. We don't need to be going no faster than we're going. I can get some Gotta clean these windows. Inside. Oh boy. 0.9 miles. All righty. Guys, thanks for coming in. Thanks for being a part of my live. Um, Let me just mouth off for a minute. And, you know, and just tell you my experience, not my knowledge. Because once again, I don't know what I'm doing. I just know I just enjoy doing it. You know what I mean? Um, Gonna cut this short. You guys have a blessed day. Coming up next, Wellness Super Mama, get your workout on, positive affirmation. Patrick Six. I don't know. I didn't see Crooked Peach coming in. Crooked, hey, Crooked, if you're in here, are you doing a live later on today? If you are, put your time up there. Later on this morning. But let me know if it's going to be a regular thing. After that, cruising is fun anytime at 9 o'clock with go live together with the whole crew. And Miss T with the T at 9:15. Miss T be doing some funny stuff on different social media platforms. He did some crazy stuff on uh, Facebook, which I thought was so freaking hilarious. But okay, as always, guys, you think anybody loves you, know that I love you, God loves you. Y'all have a blessed day. See you tomorrow.